There's a moment in Elie Wiesel's book, Night, Wiesel's account of surviving Auschwitz, in which Wiesel and the other prisoners are made to go out into the courtyard to witness the execution of three people, two men and a boy. The guards assemble the people and they bring the condemned victims in front of them. They get them ready to be hanged. They prepare the ropes and get them to stand up on chairs. A man on one side, the boy in the middle, a man on the other side. And then they kick out the chairs. The execution begins. The two men die almost immediately, but the boy is too light. He doesn't weigh enough. And for something like half an hour, he hangs in this excruciating place between life and death as the crowd watches. And at some point in this appalling spectacle, someone in the crowd shouts out, "For God's sake, where is God?" And Wiesel within him hears the answer. God is hanging there between those two men. That is a Good Friday story. It is a Good Friday story because it is appalling, because it is a story of the deepest kind of injustice, the deepest kind of wrong, the deepest kind of suffering. It is a story in which Sunday could not be further away. Resurrection could not be further away. The miracles of Jesus could not be further away. And it is a Good Friday story because the question that the person in the crowd asks is the same question that we ask as we stand before the cross. And it is the same question that in the Gospels of Matthew and Mark, Jesus asks on the cross. My God, why have you forsaken me?" A few minutes ago, we prayed those very words in Psalm 22. In other words, for God's sake, where is God? There are the answer that Wiesel hears in Auschwitz. God is hanging there between those two men, is appalling, it is horrifying, and it is ambiguous. It is ambiguous because we can understand what that voice means in two different ways. One possible reading is that in the face of the violence of this world, the injustice and the suffering and the hurt of this world, God is impotent. God is dead or dying. God can do nothing. When awful things happen, if anyone is going to save you, you must save yourself. God will do nothing. And there are days when maybe that feels like that is the right understanding of the voice that Wiesel hears. But there is another possible understanding, and that is when Wiesel hears this voice, when he hears this answer to the question, where is God? Or my God, why have you forsaken me? That we're learning two vital things about God. We're learning that God is radically present in the suffering of this world. That when awful things happen, we need not wonder where God is, because God is right in the midst of them. It is God who is always suffering. And if that is right, that means two vital things. That first means that through the innocence of Jesus, Jesus who is entirely without sin and who is executed in the worst way anyway, that God has revealed the violence of empire to be bankrupt, to be pathetic, to be wrong. There is no arguing in the face of Jesus' sinlessness that there is any justification for the brutality of the Romans, the brutality of empire. And we've learned as well that God is present with us, that God is indeed Emmanuel, God with us throughout all the joys of this life and also through the worst parts of this life. When the bombs fall, where is God? God is there underneath the bombs. When the awful diagnosis comes, where is God? God is there receiving the diagnosis. When an innocent man is deported to El Salvador, where is God? God is there in the Salvadoran prison. Some 20 years ago, when I first came to faith, I remember being exposed to this theology. A mature Christian said to me that when there is a near miss in a car, when we are almost hit and killed, we say to one another, "Oh, God was with us." We went home alive, so God was with us. And that's right. God was indeed with us. But this mature Christian said something that I found extraordinary, and I find it extraordinary still, which is, had we been T-boned and horribly injured or killed, God would have been with us. Either way, God is present. As Esther Duvall says, God is not elsewhere. It's Good Friday, the bleakest day in the church calendar. And it is perhaps tempting on this day to rush ahead to Sunday, to rush ahead to resurrection. And Sunday will come. Good news will come. But for today, let us stay here at the cross. Let us join the Marys and the generations of people who have stood at the foot of the cross and, in spite of everything, found good news in it, found hope in it. There is hope in the cross because the sinlessness of Jesus has revealed how broken and immoral and evil the actions of empire are. And there is hope in the cross because it reveals to us that we may always, always, always say to Jesus, no matter what, you know what this is like. The worst possible suffering, Jesus knows firsthand. This is the testimony of the cross. This is perhaps what we mean when we say in the cross we find salvation. God did indeed love the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son, even to death on a cross. For God's sake, where is God? He is hanging there between those two men.